first of all, being authentic. You know, being authentically me. I'm extra, and I'm going to be extra wherever I go. You know what I'm saying? I take joy to the world. You know, help people move from good to great, from overwhelmed to overflow, unleash their superpower. So I'm going to show up in the joy that I am. But the thing about it is I had to work on it because I took joy to the world for a long time but didn't have joy in my world.
Yes.
So I learned the power of sitting with myself. And I think when you learn the power of sitting with yourself and getting to know yourself, then you can better show up in confidence, and confidence brings clarity. And then just being able to be from an authentic and more pure place, then people are attracted to that. People can tell when you're faking it. People can tell when you're showing up, you know, not knowing what you're talking about. So I think the biggest thing is being authentic, making sure you know yourself, and then showing up consistently.
All right. So, Earl, I'm going to start with you. Yes, sir, the gentleman in the room. And we talked about this earlier. So many businesses, especially Black-owned businesses, don't even make it to the six-figure mark. What were some of the biggest challenges that you had to overcome to get to that point?
Well, that's kind of a loaded question, but I think some of the biggest challenges, at least in my industry, and I see with other businesses that I've talked to, is definitely the economy, like you said, the recession. I was part of the people that was in the market crash from 2008 to 2011, when I guess COVID came along. You know, the market is always shifting, right? Interest rates right now. And I think the biggest thing is that, like Lamar kind of started with us with the mastermind yesterday, and what he's speaking on today is, it's the time to dig in. You know, it's the time to be consistency. I've learned a long time ago that if I'm consistent and I follow up, I'm gonna win every time. Most people don't follow up. And I would say that's probably the biggest challenge that I see just at a business when I talk to people, period, whether it's in real estate or anything else, whether you're investing, is the follow-up piece. I mean, I believe that if you follow up, you're gonna win.
Did y'all catch that nugget?
Yeah, that was good.
Who taking notes? Y'all wrote that down? That the money is in the follow-up.
Most definitely.
Another thing I hear you saying, though, too, is longevity. You survived the recession from almost 20 years ago now, and you're still in the same industry. I mean, you sold me my first house, as a matter of fact, right?
Yes.
So how did you overcome those challenges and then stay in the game? So many entrepreneurs get discouraged. You know, you survive one recession, you feel like, well, that's it for me. My business is done. How did you keep going?
Well, I think part of that, too, is being in a group like this, right? I was always searching for a group like this. Coming up, first generation entrepreneur, you know, lived in Atlanta for over 19 years, and we was always looking, I was always looking, I had another buddy, he was always looking like, you know, I want to invest in property, how do I learn this, how do I learn that? And then when I become a part of a family like this where you can ask questions, I was asking questions yesterday, asking questions today, and with that help, as well as, again, being consistent. And when you say motivation, you know, everybody talks about a why, right? But you have to really have a why. And for me, my why is at the end, when you gave my bio, is my family. My wife, my 3 kids. When I went through the market crash of '08, it taught me a lot about me. It taught me a lot about my family. It taught me a lot about my business, my money, most definitely, because we lost a lot during that time. And you change. You know, when you're in here and they talk about mindset, I mean, that's huge. You know, when you talk about challenges and ups and downs and everything, because you have to really believe and know that your business is here to stay. And I believe that when I go out and I work with the client, I'm gonna win. If you don't mind sharing, I had an example just happen the other day with an appraisal, right? And everybody's telling me it's not gonna appraise. You know, appraisers, you just don't win with appraisers. They do what they wanna do. And I'm telling my client, look, we're gonna win this. We're gonna win this challenge. You know, it's $30,000 below. So the buyer's hurting, the seller's hurting, nobody's gonna make up that difference. But I'm telling them, look, I see the data. Data is where it's at. And that comes through experience, that comes with understanding your market, that comes with understanding what you're actually doing. I believe the gentleman that came up before, matter of fact, it was Jermaine. He talked about knowing, when you get into something, knowing exactly what you're doing. And I believe in anything that you do, with them in real estate, and I'm sure they can attest to this, is that when you know what you do and you're confident in what you do, it breeds change. And we was able to change it, and it came back in value within 2 weeks. The VA, it was a VA loan, and it appraised like it was supposed to. When everybody, even the lender, was saying, "I've never seen it happen. It's not going to happen."
Wow.
But that's just a resilient understanding that when it's your time, and fighting through it.
Wow, wow. Y'all can clap for that. Woo. So I heard follow-up, consistency, and the data, looking at the numbers. Yeah, those are good tools. All right, Joy, I'm coming over to you, sis.
All right.
So I have had the pleasure of knowing a little bit more about your story and your journey in business. And there's an expression that says, there's no failure. You either win or you learn.
Right.
It's either a blessing or it's a lesson.
Yeah.
What are some of the lessons that you've learned through some things that people might consider mistakes or difficulties that you faced in your business and you maybe had to pivot?
Well, I'll say one of the main lessons that I learned is, like you said, when we go through challenges in our business, it's data. So even if it may not work out the way that we need it to work out, we can always go back to the data. And then when we get ready to launch again, then we got some information that we can work from. The other thing is, because I'm always shifting, I've learned to just embrace the shift and just learn the power of the flow. You know, because life be lifing. Y'all know what I mean? Y'all know what I mean? Life be lifing. So I've learned the power of the flow and just to embrace the shift as things are shifting. And when I embrace the shift, I experience the shift differently. So that was another main lesson learned. Just going with the flow, because things are going to change at times. And then I'll say another lesson is there's so many different lessons when it comes to business ownership. Just making sure that you forever be a student and continue to learn. I'm a forever student. So always just continuing to be a student, continuing to put yourself in atmospheres and environments like this, and that'll keep you elevating. And at every level of evolution, there's a mindset shift required. So just making sure you shift your mind, making sure you evolve, making sure you elevate, and that'll continue to help you level up.
Oh, that's good. So because you end up working with a lot of businesses in the work you do with branding, how do you balance working on the business and then working in the business, right?
That's good.
The things that actually have to get done so the client is happy, but also the things that you just need to do to make sure that business is flowing every day.
So I think there's power in the pause. And every single day I wake up, I am pausing. Right? I am pausing every day to make sure I take the time for that personal development, taking that time to pour into me, to feed into me, to make sure I have a gratitude journal. So there's power in just writing and releasing. And then the other thing too is just making sure that I take those moments of rest. And I tell people rest is a posture. Ooh. A lot of times people just want to keep, one thing God said in this last season is, don't be so busy doing that you're not being. That you're not being bold, that you're not being authentic, that you're not being still, that you're not being who I need you to be right now, so that you can hear what's next and what's getting ready to come. Wow. So there's power in resting. So I've learned to take those quarterly vacations so that I can make sure that I'm working on me. I've learned to take those moments to just get in a car and just drive an hour away, get by water, just so that I can make sure that I'm always taking care of myself. For so long, I gave the world the best of me and my family the rest of me. And on this journey to being a seven-figure earner, I will never do it again. They would always get the best of me. But I'm going to make sure I'm showing up for me first before I show up for everybody else. Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful. I'm coming over to you, Coach Cass. Yes, I am. And if for those who do have questions, now would be a great opportunity to line up so we can get as many of your questions answered as possible. And we do have 2 mics to the left and to the right, so you can head over to those microphones. Coach Cass. Hey, friend. So my question for you is really centered around your journey to hitting that 6. You have just a vivacious, larger-than-life personality, and you know what you're talking about. I see you on television, and everybody's heard about your bio, and so we know that you know your stuff. But you have different offers. You have your book, you have your membership, there's retreats involved. How did you find the voice of the money, right? How did you find the language that was going to say, oh, I provide this, I have this beautiful message. How do I get that to convert to consistent sales and traffic?
Yeah, okay. So
Let me take it back to 2004.
Go ahead, take
right?
us back.
So
Yes.
in 2004, I started my coaching practice, right? And I've been coaching since then with the dream that I would walk away from my 9 to 5 when I hit $10,000 a month, right? So 2005 hit, 2006 hit, you know, all the way through. And in 2021, right? I started to get consistent income, right? Like I have a membership, so it's maybe $3,000 a month. I'm like, this is cool, this is good. But it wasn't until I went to a church retreat, right? And there was a specific scripture that was shared that was like, when you're connected to the source, you will always get the fruit, right? And I had a specific conversation with Dr. Lynn, and she told me, because I was like, you know, I think God is telling me to walk away from my 9 to 5, which is really scary for all my 9 to 5ers out there, right? And a part of what she told me was, what if when you died and you met God, and he said, look at all of what I had for you, but instead you chose to be comfortable. Girl. So that was the day I decided to walk away from my 9 to 5, which was very scary. And so how I got from the 3,000 to the 10,000 to the 20,000
Come
and
on.
above. Hello.
And above.
Hallelujah.
Don't miss that part. And above.
And above,
All
right?
right.
So in 2022 is when I joined here, right? So this is November of 2021. I hit about $98,000. Man, I was mad. You know,
that
your
hurt.
whole life you trying to get to 6 figures, and I got to 90. I was like, ah! I was like, Andy, can I hold something real quick? He was like, nah, right? You got to do this by yourself. I'm like, fine, I love you too, right? And then we joined TSP, and we joined TSP Mastermind online. I've known Lamar and Ronnie a very long time. I said, these are people of integrity. These are my people. Andy was like, if you trust them, I trust them, right? And I remember getting on a call with Lamar like right after that, and he said, Cass, you're not launching enough, right? Because before I used to do a launch maybe 3 times a year. And he was like, girl, that ain't enough. So now 16 launches later, right? I have been launching every single month without fail, right? With the tweak, with the tears, with the technical difficulties, all of it. You know, I'm proud to say that I have had a 6-figure situation. You know, I've had a $60,000 month. You know what I mean? Like last year we ended up at 270,000, right? So, you know, little by little. And I like what the brother said earlier. Well, it wasn't the brother. I think that was Jason. But you know what I mean. He said, you know, you want to look at where you were yesterday, Brother Jason.
The brother,
right? Hallelujah.
yes.
In the church, right? So that kind of brother. So you want to look at where you were yesterday instead of where you feel like you should be. Yes. And I'm guilty of that, right? Because all of us want the next thing, right? I want to be the millionaire, Forbes magazine. I'm already in Forbes, right? So we still have to be able to celebrate our wins along the journey. So for me, consistency has been being in the TSP Mastermind, being in this community, to be constantly encouraged. You know, what I love about being here is that I am constantly reminded of who I am. Because sometimes we forget. They're like, do you know who you are, sis? You know, it's just like, it's this that gets me, right? So it's all the extra that comes with the love that I feel here, that I really do feel like I'm at home.
Yes, y'all can clap for that. Absolutely. So what I feel like I'm hearing, and I see the people are ready for you. What I'm hearing is sometimes we're getting stuck in the wrong C word. Yeah. We're getting stuck in comparison when we need to get committed to consistency, right? So and that's something I hear from each of your stories, that consistency is going to be the thing that provides the longevity, right? That allows for that resilience to come because there's already a commitment. So I'm loving everything that you're sharing. I cannot wait to hear some of the questions at the mic. We'll start here, and then we'll come over.
All right, what's up, family? Hi, my name is Jackie Vasquez, Coach Jackie, if you will, Money Mindset Coach. This question is for my girl, Joy. Now, Joy, I've been following you. You have such a beautiful community.
Thank you.
Can you tell me how you either built it, well, how you, not in a way built it, but how do you cultivate the culture in your community where they follow you everywhere? Because your community is on fire.
Yeah, okay, so when it comes to, first of all, being authentic, being authentically me. I'm extra, and I'm going to be extra wherever I go. You know what I'm saying? I take joy to the world. Help people move from good to great, from overwhelm to overflow, unleash their superpower. So I'm going to show up in the joy that I am. But the thing about it is I had to work on it because I took joy to the world for a long time, but didn't have joy in my world.
Yes.
So I learned the power of sitting with myself. And I think when you learn the power of sitting with yourself and getting to know yourself, then you can better show up in confidence, and confidence brings clarity. And then just being able to be from an authentic and more pure place, then people are attracted to that. People can tell when you're faking it. People can tell when you're showing up, not knowing what you're talking about. So I think the biggest thing is being authentic, making sure you know yourself, and then showing up consistently. I'll tell you this, during COVID, I showed up for a whole entire year. I didn't miss but one Monday. But people said to me, they said I could always depend on you to show up. Everybody else will come, they'll do 3-4 weeks or whatever, and then they're gone. But you showed up every Monday. The people at the job was waiting. I was waiting. So if your show up is consistent, then that is going to help others show up for you.
Come on, girl.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, we'll come over to this mic, and do let us know who you want the question to be directed at.
All right. Hello, I'm Jeff Austin, aka Plant-Based Jeff, top CMOS provider and plant-based transition coach. So this question can go for anyone. I'm in that 6-figure club where I have crossed over the 7-figure mark, but it took me 2 years. Thank you. So I want to know, what can we do for people like us that we're in this 6-figure club and we know this is just a milestone because we headed to 7 and we're headed to 8. What do you feel, what is required from us to go to that next level, or the mindset or strategies that we need to do to break free of this club and get to the next club?
Yeah, Earl, Coach Cass?
I think for me, I think all of us, whether we're close to it or trying to strive to get to 7 figures, I think for me, I talk to my wife every day. That's like written on my wall. I've been talking to everybody about the conference, 7 figures, 7 figures. And I think, okay, first I start with numbers, right? So it's just the basic math numbers to say, okay, if you're doing, depending on you have a products, right? And I'm familiar with your products. And I need so many products to sell per month to hit so many millions of dollars after expenses, right? If you're talking about net or gross based on what what you're talking about. So I start with the numbers. Then I say, okay, I need these numbers for this month. If I need 200 products to be moved, what is it going to take for me to move 200 products? So that goes back to what Cass was talking about. She wasn't doing enough launching. So do I need to do now 10 lunches? Do I need to do 50 lives? Do I need to do lives plus sell some stuff on a commercial? Do I need to do an ad for this? Do I need to do this? And they say, okay, I'm gonna get 25 from here, 50 from here, 75 from here. To me, it's about numbers. That's why I look at. I look at the data all day. Because if I hit the data, hit the marks, I'm gonna get to the $1 million. Or if you don't have the ads, network. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I'm like, man, Lamar said it in the mastermind. Some of us got businesses in this room right now that we should leave here with 200 or 300 clients by the end of this weekend. Period. Just based on what our business is. So network. And I had somebody for you already. When we finish, remember that you needed to connect with, that was in my hot seat, that has a similar business to you that's with health, and I talked about you that y'all need to connect with.
Okay.
Everything you need is in the room, right? Yeah. Absolutely. Yes, Dr. Mel.
Hey. My name is Dr. Mel. I am a licensed clinical psychologist. I help women and mental health clinicians who are feeling stuck and underwhelmed with the monotony of life break free from cookie-cutter templates, unleash their inner badass, and do things their own way. So this question is directed at Joy, but I am curious if Earl and Coach Cass also have insights. Joy named that she is always shifting and evolving, and that you embrace that shift. And so my question is about, how do you know when you need to actually pause and sit in whatever you're shifting in for the moment before you go to the next thing or the next idea? How do you know when you need to sit still?
A lot of times, frustration can bring revelation. So sometimes if you find yourself in a place of a lot of frustration, that is that time to pause so that you can get the revelation that you need before you move forward. So that is one way I know. Another way too is for me, and this is not always in all situations, but I've learned with a lot of clients it is true, and that is when you start noticing like a lot of things starting to happen to shift you outside of your comfort zone. Because see, I was a person that came whenever things were comfortable for me, and I finally got to that place of comfort because I came from poverty, I wanted to stay stuck there. So it's literally like God had to begin to shake things up to shake me out. So things began to just shake up, and I had to finally make a move because the move created movement. But a part of that move was just sitting and just being able to just continue to, like you say, focus and say, okay, what's really going on here? And then just launching into the new thing. And even though you might not be sure, you still just make that step. So frustration brings revelation, and when a lot's going on, just take those moments to just get still and get quiet.
Thank you.
Coach Cass, I'd love if you could add on to that, because I know that part of your journey has been, that as well, right? Like finding how do I shift into the right positioning and then stay strong where I am.
Okay. So I have been different types of coaches, right? Anybody here been different types of things in their careers? You started one place, you ended up somewhere else. So for me, I started out in wellness, right? I went over to business, I went over to life, and I really settled into love because this was my magnificent obsession. This is the stuff that I eat, breathe, like anything love. I could talk about it all day long. But right before the pandemic, I had a situation with my daughter, and I ended up writing a children's book, right? And I ended up promoting this children's book. It hit #1. I'm like, Andy, we're going to create pajamas. We got birthday sets. We're going to paint the town with this little princess. And he was like, girl, focus, right? Like, it's all well and good, but, what's really going to make the money, right? What's going to make the money? So I loved my children's book. I still have the children's book, if y'all want children's books, right? But at the same time, I had to look at what also brings the revenue and what is something that I absolutely love. So I had to sit and focus in on, okay, well, girl, what you gonna do? So part of it is the wise counsel of my husband, right, in my ear, and then also part of it is the prayer piece, and a part of it is the natural inclination of what it is that I love to do, and I love love. So that's how I ended up settling into love coaching, and I love it. Yeah.
That's powerful. So many people, yeah, definitely. So many people are multi-passionate, but most entrepreneurs are not multi-purposed.
Yeah.
Right?
So good.
And understanding the distinction between the two will help with focus. So I love that you shared that. Well, we are wrapping up our panel, but I do want to ask you all if you could just describe in one word what the TSP Mastermind has meant to you. And I'm going to give you a second to think about it, and I'm going to ask you just one word that describes how powerful the experience of being a part of the Mastermind has been for you. And I'm going to start with Joy and come on over.
Well, you took my word, and my word was powerful. When you said that powerful,
We
that
can
was my
share
word.
it, I promise.
Yeah.
It's room.
Yeah, but powerful.
Yes.
That would be my one word.
Awesome.
I think my one word is teamwork.
Okay. Teamwork. Listen, we need a lot more of that. Coach Cass.
Mine would be inspiring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Inspiring. So I hope that you all have been inspired by them. Have you been inspired by them today? Have they given you something to think about for yourselves and your businesses, six-figure businesses out here? All right, well, let's give them a round of applause. Coach Cass, Earl Knighton, and Joy McLaughlin Harris. Thank them.